Hello everybody, welcome to another game in the 1987 American League full playthrough from April the 24th. This game has a bit of a inauspicious beginning as far as video goes. Started to record this game and then recording cut out on me in the first inning, and I didn't want to redo the whole thing because I didn't think it would be fair to Seattle, who has already got a 1-0 lead. So we're just going to pick this up in the top of the second and go from there. But since we're starting here, I really need to go through the whole rigmarole of what I would have said in the very beginning to set up the game. Oakland and Seattle. Seattle comes to the game 7-9. Oakland comes in 13-3. Eric Plunk against Mike Moore. Ballpark effects 1-3 for lefties and righties. For singles, home runs 1-5 lefties and righties. Plunk has a wild pitch rating of 11, balk of 8. Moore is a 3 and a 3. Pitcher catcher hold, Plunk's a +3 and Steinbach's a 0, so that nets to a +3. Mike Moore is a -4, but Scott Bradley's a +2. That gives him a -2 net on that one. And like I said, I played the first inning. Moses struck out, Bradley flew to right, Scott Bradley doubled, and then Ken Phelps doubled right behind him, make it 1-0. Alvin Davis struck out to end the inning. And the top of the first, Polonia making his first start for Oakland since being added to the roster. He grounds to second, and then Tony Phillips and Carney Lansford both struck out. And that's where we stand. Starting the top of the second inning, 1-0 favor of Seattle. So other players that were added to the roster for Oakland, Mike Gallego has been added to their roster as well. They've had some subtractions from their roster. Mike Davis, Rob Nelson are gone. Louis Polonia and Mike Gallego added, but the only three players that are available off the bench for Oakland in this game are Mike Gallego, Ron Say, and the backup catcher Mickey Tettleton. No one else is available off the bench for them. For Seattle, their bench players, we're going to have Rich Renteria, Bob Kearney, Domingo Ramos, Donnell Nixon, and a new player that was just added to their roster, John Christensen. So those are the bench players for Seattle. Oakland's got a few more bullpen arms than Seattle does, but I believe Oakland's playing with 23 active players and Seattle 24. That's what the Strat-O-Matic computer is telling me, so that's what I'm going by. So, with all that prelim out of the way, we will start the second inning. I've got the phone down as low as I can get it to still fit everything. But once we get to the later innings and I start moving everything over this way, I'm going to have to raise it up, I guess. Or I'm going to have to move the cards over this way. So we'll figure it out one way or the other. But I wanted to get the phone down as low as possible so you can see the cards as the best as possible. If that's a word. All right, so Jim Presley, the Hound Dog, is going to lead off the top of the second. And Presley is hitting 153 on the season. 2 homers, 6 runs batted in. And again, Eric Plunk is 1-1, and his ERA after the first inning here is now 4.50. 18 innings pitched, 15 hits, 15 walks, and 17 strikeouts. So Plunk to Presley. 3-8 for Presley is a 1-4 single. That's a 15 though, so he will line to short. And there's one away. And of course, this is the closest I can get to the Oakland A color dice, so that's what I tried to do, but can't always make it work out the way I want to, but it's good enough, I guess. All right, Mike Kingery, the batter for Seattle. Kingery enters the game hitting .316, 2 homers, 8 driven in. 5-6, and that's a strikeout. Out number 2. Thought about picking this up live instead of doing the recording, but 2 factors that shied away from that is I get better quality when I record, and 2, it seems like someone's always live streaming, so if I try to live stream, I'm going to cut into somebody else, and it's just it's a lot of live streamers out there, so which is great, but sometimes it's hard to fit in a game when you're trying to not go over anybody else. All right, so here is Ray Quinones hitting a .151, no homers, 3 runs driven in. 6-8 righty on righty, and that's a 1-10 single. That's a 16 though, so he will line it to short also. And that's going to end the inning. 1-2-3 inning for Eric Plunk. And the score remains 1-0 in favor of Seattle. As we go to the bottom of the second, Mike Moore will be out, and Hot Dog Reggie Jackson, the designated hitter, will lead off for the Oakland A's. Jackson enters the game hitting .204. Does have 2 home runs with 8 runs driven in. 4-4 to the lefty is a ballpark single check, 1-3. That's a 14, so he will fly to center. And that's 1 away. So Reggie is retired. That brings up Jose Canseco, left fielder. Canseco hitting .241, but he does have 5 home runs with 9 driven in. 4-7, and that's a walk. So first base runner for the A's. And Canseco's going to be looking to get the lead. He needs a 6, though. That's the only way he gets the lead is on a 6. And he can't get it, but that's a 1, so there's a chance that he's going to be picked off. His secondary lead is 11, so in order to get back safely, he has to have a 1 to 11. If the D20 is higher than 11, if it's 12 or higher, he is picked off. At 15, he is picked off. So how about that? Jose Canseco gets picked off first base by Mike Moore. And maybe he should have thought about that before he tried to get that lead. But that's the danger. When you try for the lead, you have to worry about getting picked off, and he certainly did. So 2 outs, base is clear for Terry Steinbach. And he's hitting .435 at bats, 2 homers, 2 driven in. 2-2, and that is a foul out to the catcher Bradley, and that's going to end the inning. So Oakland goes quietly in their half of the second. We go to the third. It's still 1-0 Seattle. Jose Canseco still a little bit steamed by getting picked off, but them's the breaks, Jose. Here's Eric Plunk back out. He'll be facing the number 9 hitter, Harold Reynolds. Reynolds is hitting .231 on the season. No homers, 2 runs batted in. 4-9, switch hitter batting left, is a leadoff walk to Harold Reynolds. That is the first walk issued by Plunk. Reynolds now to get the lead needs a 2 through 6 or a 9. And he can't get the lead, so he will hold. And that brings up the leadoff hitter, John Moses. Moses hitting .163, not very good. 1 homer, no runs batted in. 3-9 for Moses. Ground ball second base A. It's a 4-6-3 double play. And that's why they were trying to get Harold Reynolds to steal the base. Possibly could have bunted. He was an A bunter, but didn't do it. So pay the consequences. All right, here's Phil Bradley. He is hitting .206, a homer and 6 runs batted in. 4-7, and that's another walk for Plunk. And that will bring up the other Bradley, Scott Bradley. Phil Bradley, though, looking to maybe to get the lead again. 2 through 5 will get him the lead. Does not get the lead, so he holds. And the catcher, Scott Bradley, is up. And Scott Bradley's hitting .241, no homers, 5 runs batted in. 4-4 against Plunk is another ballpark single check, but that's an 18, so he will fly to center. And that's going to end the inning. Nothing doing for the Mariners. We go to the bottom of the third, still 1-0. Mike Moore back out. And if I didn't give his numbers earlier, Mike Moore is 2-1. And as of right now, after these first 2 innings, his ERA has dropped to 1.78. He's pitched 25 innings, given up 17 hits, 9 walks, 11 strikeouts. And he's going to face Rookie of the Year, Mark McGwire. Rookie of the Year, 1987. McGwire hitting .226, 2 homers, 4 driven in. 4-8, and that is a strikeout. Mike Moore getting the whiff on McGwire. Here comes Stan Javier, left fielder, or actually right fielder in this game, switch hitter. Javier hitting a .125, a homer and 3 driven in. 1-6, and that's a 1-5 triple, but that's an 11, so he will fly to right field, where it is hauled in out there by Kingery for out number 2. And that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Alfredo Griffin, the shortstop, sometimes known as Alfredo Fettuccine Griffin. And he's hitting .259, no homers and 2 driven in. It's a 2-6, and that's a ground ball to third. Easy play for the hound dog Jim Presley, and the A's go quietly 1-2-3 in their half of the third. So we completed 3 innings here in Oakland. Scored Seattle 1 and Oakland nothing. Nip and tuck so far. Plunk back out will be facing Ken Phelps, who doubled, had an RBI double for the only run of the game. Ken Phelps now currently hitting .333 with 5 homers and 15 driven in. So now all of Seattle, you've heard their averages because we picked it up. Well, actually, Alvin Davis is the last one I need to give. Everybody else has already got their things done. Let me make sure that we're okay focus-wise. I think we are. So we'll keep going. All right, Ken Phelps. 4-7, and that's a walk. So another walk issued by Plunk. That is his 3rd walk. Phelps will obviously not be held. And here comes Alvin Davis, first baseman. Struck out his first time up. He is now hitting .315 after that at bat. 3 homers, 6 driven in. Oops, we got to do the havoc roll. My bad. Havoc roll. Got to do the havoc roll. Now we can do Alvin Davis's at bat. 3-5, and that's a 1 for a triple. 2-20 is a double. That will be a double. A double, and that will put runners at second and third. So second and third, nobody out for Jim Presley. And now we don't need the averages anymore because Presley led off in the top of the second when the video started. So Presley's up. The infield is going to play in. They're already down 1-0. They're trying to choke out future runs if they can. That's a 1-7. That's a strikeout. That's a good start for Plunk to get out of this with a strikeout. Infield still in, and here's Kingery. And there is, if Plunk wasn't walking guys, they might think about walking Kingery to set up a double play, but you walk Kingery, then you can walk in a run. So they're going to have to pitch to Kingery, but try to pitch to him carefully. Struck him out his first time. 2-12, and that's a ground ball pitcher A with the infield in. That means the runner's going to have to hold. So 2 down, infield back to normal now for Ray Quinones. Plunk trying to get out of this. Just needs to get Quinones. That's a 2, chance of a balk or a pass ball. That's a chance of a balk. Eric Plunk's balk rating is an 8. So he could balk in a run here on a 1-8. He does not, though. Fortunately for him, he does not balk. So now Quinones will bat. 2-5. And that's a strikeout to end the inning. So Plunk gets out of it. Boy, talk about wiggling your way out of a jam. Second and third, nobody on, and you don't score. That could come back to haunt Seattle before this game is over. Here's Mike Moore. He's back out to face the top of the order, Polonia, followed by Phillips and Lansford. Polonia, like I said, he's starting the season. This is his first game with Oakland. He's 0 for 1 because he grounded out the second, so he's got a 0 batting average. 4-5, and that's a fly to left field. So now he's 0 for 2. Moore puts Polonia away, and here's Tony Phillips. He struck out his first chance. Tony Phillips on the replay is hitting .246, 2 homers, 9 driven in. That's a 3-10, and that's a fly ball to right field. Out number 2 as Kingery puts it away. And now my computer wants to act up on me. Come on now. Now we got it. It was kind of frozen there for a second. All right, so 2 down for Carney Lansford. And Lansford hitting .286, 2 homers, 12 driven in. It's a 6-5, and that's a walk. Second walk issued by Moore. Lansford, to get the lead, needs a 2 through 5. Remember, he did pick off Canseco trying to get the lead last time. This time, no dice, no lead, no pickoff. And that'll bring up Reggie Jackson. That's a 4-7 against the lefty. 1-11's a single. That's a 15. He will line it to Harold Reynolds at second. And the inning is over. So 4 innings are in the books. It's still 1-0 Seattle. Plunk, this will be his fatigue inning. He has a fatigue of 5. But the A's have plenty of bullpen arms ready to go if needed. And Harold Reynolds will lead it off. Walked his first time up and was erased on a double play. 3-8. It's going to ground it to short. Now Fredo Griffin will take care of things. 1 down. And that'll bring up John Holy Moses. Moses hit into said double play his last time up. He also struck out to start the game. 4-6, switch hitter batting left is another walk by Plunk. And that's the 4th walk by Plunk. Now let's look at Moses. He can get the lead on a 2 through 10 or a 12, but he gets picked off on an 11. So he's either going to get the lead or he's going to get picked off because all numbers there are covered. So he gets the lead. So he's a 15. Being held makes him a 13, but the +3 is a 16. 1-16, he steals it. And he does. Stolen base for Moses. So Moses steals the base. And that will send up Phil Bradley. Moses will be held at second because he runs at a 17. They want to try to limit what he can do on a base hit. So they will hold him on, which means the second baseman Phillips is responsible on an X chance. 5-10, and that is a ground ball third base X, though. That is Lansford. He's not responsible for holding anybody. Lansford's a 3. But he still may not get to it. 3 and a 6. Nope, it's a G3, so they'll get the out, but the runner will go to third. And his error rating is E8, so we've got to avoid 3 and then 15 through 18. And that is a 13, so he barely does it. But it's going to be a 5-3 ground out with Moses taking third base since it was a G3. But now there are 2 outs. Runner at third for Scott Bradley. Bradley doubled and scored in the first, flew to center in the third. Oh, sorry, supposed to got to run the havoc roll, my bad. Nothing there. All right, here we go. 2-11, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-3, that's a 12 though, so that's going to be a liner to second base, and that's going to end the inning. So Plunk does make it through 5 pretty well. Only 1 run allowed, so he may come back for the 6th. We shall see, although there are lefties coming up for Seattle, so we could see a new pitcher. We will wait and see what Tony La Russa decides later. Right now, Mike Moore is out, and he'll be facing Jose Canseco, who walked and got picked off first base. So he's still fuming about that, I'm sure. 3-12, and that's a hit by pitch, so that adds insult to injury to Jose. Not only does he get picked off, but now he gets hit by a pitch. And he's really fuming at Mike Moore now. Boy, he's almost tempted to charge the mound here. All right, Canseco needs a 6. Doesn't get it, so he will hold. And that's Terry Steinbeck, the batter. 2-10 for Steinbeck. It's a ground ball third base A. It's going to go around the horn. 5-4-3. Jose Canseco tried to break up the double play at second, but Harold Reynolds was having none of it as he got out of the way very quickly and executes that 5-4-3 double play. And that'll bring up Mark McGuire. Struck out his first chance. 6-7, and that's a ground ball second base X. That's Harold Reynolds. He's a 2. 2 and a 3. 2 and a 3. He'll get to it. G3 with a pound, but nobody's on base to worry about it. And his error rating's at E21, so he's got to avoid 4, 13, and 17, which he does. So it's a nice play by Harold Reynolds to end the 5th. So 5 innings are in the books. It's still 1-0 Seattle. And now the question is, do they come back with Plunk, or do they go with some lefties, a lefty out of the bullpen? That's a decision that Tony La Russa will have to make. Ken Phelps is the leadoff batter if he chooses to keep Plunk out there. Let's look at their bullpen for Oakland. These are the arms that are available, and they are as follows. Right-handers Rick Rodriguez, right-hander Dennis Eckersley, right-hander Jay Howell, and right-hander Gene Nelson. Those are from the right-hand side that are available for Oakland. From the left-hand side, Bill Kruger and newly added Dave Leeper. So we could see Dave Leeper. Looks like we will. So they're going to give it Leeper, bring him into the ball game and tell Eric Plunk, nice job, but we'll take it from here. So a call has been made to the bullpen. So we'll get the numbers on Plunk to round out his outing. And Plunk is going to go 5 innings, with 3 hits and a run, 4 walks and 5 strikeouts. But with these lefties coming up, they're deciding to go with Dave Leeper. And like I said, this will be his first appearance, period. He is a -6 hole, which really helps. -5 is the best you can do. So Leeper will be coming into the ball game to face a couple of lefties, Ken Phelps and Alvin Davis. And then Kingery is 2 batters away. So he's got 3 out of 4 batters coming up are left-handed, which seems to be right in line with where you'd want a guy like Leeper. So Leeper is on, and he'll be facing Ken Phelps to start the 6th inning of a 1-0 game. Make sure that we're in good shape there. Okay, put moving cards around and whatnot. So here we go. Phelps walks and doubled. 4-3, and that's a fly ball left field X. Boy, good thing didn't do 4-4. Fly ball left field X, that's Canseco. He's a 3. So Canseco is a 3. 3-10 in the outfield. 3-10 is going to be an F2, so he'll get to it. His error rating's an E9. He's got to avoid 3, 11, 16, and 18. And he barely does with the 12. So Canseco, a little bit of problems with it. Off the left, he was kind of fading away from him toward the line, but he was able to finally get there and make the catch for out number 1. Here's Alvin Davis, another lefty-on-lefty matchup. Davis has struck out and doubled. 6-6 against the lefty, struck him out. So Leeper with the strikeout for out number 2. And here's the hound dog, Jim Presley. Presley is 0 for 2. Line to short and struck out. 5-6 to the right-hander, struck him out. So boy, La Russa must have known what he was doing there, bringing in Leeper, because he solidly got the job done. And he could still pitch another inning if they wish, but they might want to limit him, not overexpose him to right-handers. So they may just go ahead and put a cap on that and call it 1 inning, because they've got more relievers raring and ready to go. They might let him pitch to Kingery and then pull him after that. So right now, Mike Moore will be facing Stan Javier. Flew to right his first chance. That's a 5-4. Switch hitter batting left-handed is a ground ball third base X. That is the hound dog, Jim Presley. He is a 2. 2 and a 5. He should get to that. 2 and a 5 is a G3, so it's good enough to get to it. His error rating, he's a 24, which means he has to avoid 3, 9, 12, 15, and 18. And that's a 16, so I think he's okay with that. He's an E24 as a third baseman. There is no 16, so he's okay. Tough hop, but he makes the play. and that will retire Javier. Here's Alfredo Griffin, the shortstop. 4-9, switch hitter batting left. That's a single, and there goes the no-hitter in the top of the 6th. Oakland gets their first hit of the game. It belongs to the number 9 hitter, Alfredo Griffin. Look at it again, 4-9, switch hitter batting left. It's a solid single, no doubt about it. Griffin gets the lead on a 2-10. And he gets the lead. He's a 15. Being held makes him a 13. -2 is an 11. So 1-11, Alfredo Griffin will steal second base. And he does. So stolen base, Alfredo Griffin. Being aggressive with 1 out. Trying to get in scoring position. Which he has now done. And that brings up Polonia. Griffin will not be held at second. They don't want to open up a chance for a X chance that's going to free up a base hit against him. So he will not be held on. His Polonia is 0 for 2. 3-6 struck him out. He's now 0 for 3. So now we're down to a clutch situation for Tony Phillips. And against a right-hander, Tony Phillips will gain a hit on 2-6 and gain a hit on 110 and gain a hit on 310. So he gains 3 hits. Very good in the clutch, apparently. So we'll see if that comes to fruition here. Well, it's off Moore's card, so it doesn't matter. 6-7, ground ball, second base X. Runners at second, but he was not being held. So the second baseman Reynolds will keep his full 2-21. So that's the reason why they didn't hold him. 2 and a 1, though, is not going to matter. That's going to get through 4 base hits. And SI 1, so he may not score unless there's an error on the play. E21, it's got to avoid 4, 13, and 17. That's a 4. It will be an error on Harold Reynolds. So it's a base hit plus an error. Single plus the E4. And that will tie the score to run apiece. No RBI given because without the error he wouldn't have scored. So we're tied at 1. Tough play for Harold Reynolds there. Tied at 1. Phillips at second base, still a clutch situation with 2 outs. And Carney Lansford, the batter, he struck out and walked. 5-7, that's a single to right field. Single to right field. Phillips was not being held. He's a 15, he becomes a 16 for not being held. 2 outs makes him an 18. The single went to right field. Kingery's a -2, makes it a 16. 1-16, they're going to send him. And that means if he's not out, Lansford will take second on the throw. And he is. So Lansford will go to second on the throw. Scoring from second base is Phillips. And the A's have now taken a 2-1 lead just like that. Lansford at second now with 2 outs. And here comes Hot Dog Jackson. 6-6 to the lefty is a ground ball shortstop X. Lansford was not being held on, so Quinones will keep his number 3. 3-17, he'll get to it. Now E31, he's got to avoid. So he's got to avoid 3, 4, 6, and then 15 through 18. And he does. That's an 11, so he's good to go on that. 6-3 ground out to end the inning, but the A's take a 2-1 lead. After 6 innings of play. Now Mike Moore is on the downside of the scorecard as he's now the loser record. Leeper will come out and he will pitch to Kingery, but that's probably going to be the last batter he faces as they have action in the bullpen with right-hander Gene Nelson loosening in the pen. Let me make sure Nelson's not fatigued. I don't think he is. No, he's good to go. All the bullpen arms are not showing. None of them are showing tired, so he's still good to go. All right, so Leeper's going to face Kingery. This will be his last batter to face. Lefty on lefty matchup. a 5-7, and it's a ground ball second base X. That is Phillips. He's a 4. 4 and 18, he'll get to that. E21, he's got to avoid 4, 13, and 17, just like Reynolds did. They're both second basemen are E21s. That is a 16. Make sure that's, nope, 17 is an error, but not 16. So it's a good play for Phillips. 4-3 ground out, and that's going to do it for Leaper. Tony La Russa has made a motion to the bullpen, and they will bring in Gene Full Nelson in place of Leaper. Leaper's going to go an inning and a third, give up nothing, strike out 2. Can't ask for anything more than that from your lefty specialist. But he is a specialist, so that's why you don't leave him exposed for 2 or 3 innings. You get him out of there when he's done what he needs to do. So Gene Nelson will be coming on. And on the replay, Nelson is 1-0 with no saves and a 4.38 earned run average. He is a -3 on the hold. He's pitched 12 innings, given up 16 hits, 5 walks, and 16 strikeouts. So Nelson, Leaper is actually the pitcher of the winning pitcher of record if the score holds. And we'll see what happens going forward after that. Ray Quinones will be the leadoff man. He's 0 for 2. 5-2, that's a ground ball back to Nelson. 2 away. And that will bring up Harold Reynolds. He has walked and grounded to short. 6-4, switch hitter batting left. Ballpark single check again. That's a 15, so he will fly to left field. And that's going to do it. So the Mariners started off really well in the first inning with a 1-0 lead, but they have done nothing since. And now this is Mike Moore's inning of fatigue coming up right now. But with Canseco being the leadoff man, Mike Moore is in his head. So they're going to let Mike Moore pitch to Canseco right here. Should be an interesting thing. Canseco in the first time up walked and was picked off, and then Moore hit him on his second trip, and then he got erased on a double play. So Canseco's had an interesting outing so far. 2-7, and he will hit a 1-7 single. That is a 7, so Canseco gets a modicum of revenge with that base hit. And by golly, he's going to try to get that lead again. He's not daunted by the pickoff. 8, he can't do it, though, so he will hold. And here's Terry Steinbach. Seattle bullpen is loosening. They do have some action down there, right-handed action, as a matter of fact. And it looks like it is, let's see who's, they got 4 pitchers available. They got Nunez, they got Reed, and Huseman from the right side, and they have Wilkinson from the left side. So let me see who is the most, who has the most rest of anyone. And it looks like they're all showing okay. So looks like it's southbound and down Jerry Reed loosening the bullpen if needed. All right, Steinbeck is your batter. He hit into a double play last time up. They're trying to get him to do it again. 5-3. And ground ball pitcher X, he just might. Moore is a 2 2 and 11 for a pitcher is going to be a G2, so that would be a fielder's choice, assuming there's no error. He's an E12, and that's a 9. So as a pitcher, E12, he's got to avoid 6, 12, 15, 3, and 18. So he's good there. So it's a fielder's choice. It's going to go 1-4 to erase Canseco and leave Steinbach as your runner, who's not going to be held, obviously. So second time that Canseco's been erased at second base on a forced play. First time was a double play. This one was just a fielder's choice. Here's McGuire. Whoa, Suadice. Let's re-roll that. 4-3 is a ballpark single. That's a 5, so but he needs a 3. So that's going to be a liner to short. And that is out number 2. 2 down, and that's going to send up Stan Javier. 2 outs and Steinbach at first base, not being held. It's 2-8 for Javier and struck him out to end the inning. Well, it's the 7th inning stretch, and I totally forgot about the 7th inning stretch, but we'll just keep going. How about that? 2-1 is our score. And Gene Nelson back out to face the top of the order. It will be Moses, Bradley, and Bradley. And now I want to see if I might need to move over because I think I'm running out of room on this side, but let me double check that. Looks like we are running out of room on this side, so let me raise this up just a hair. Not much, just a hair. Hopefully that hair will be enough to keep it in play, which I think it is now. All right, Nelson to Moses. 5-11 switch hitter. That's a ballpark single check, but again, you need a 3. That's a 19. So he will line it to second base. 1 away. And Phil Bradley, the batter. Jay Howell is loosening in the bullpen for... Jay Howell is loosening the bullpen for the A's to possibly pitch the 9th to get the save. Or at least try for the save. 2-7 for Bradley is a walk. That's assuming they still hold the lead. Bradley walks. And he might be looking to get the lead. It certainly is. 2-5 will get him the lead. Oops, Suadice. That's a 3, though, so he's going to get the lead. Make sure it's not a pickoff. There's not. So he does get the lead. 19 being held makes him a 17. -3 is a 14. 1-14, he steals the base. And he does. Stolen base for Phil Bradley. So Phil Bradley will steal the base. Gets him into scoring position. He is the tying run. And he runs at 16, so they will hold him on second base. Try to bird dog him and keep him close. Scott Bradley is your batter now. 2-7. And that's going to be a single to right field. Single to right field. Now, Phil Bradley was being held, so he drops from a 16 to a 15. Right fielder arm is Javier is a -1. That's a 1-14. And you know what? Those are good odds. They got to send them. 1-14. They're sending him to try to tie this game. And he's in there. And now Scott Bradley is a catcher, so he doesn't run very well. So I'm not going to let him take the extra base. That just doesn't seem realistic. I don't think he would do that in real world, since he's such a slow runner. But the score is now tied on the RBI single. RBI single from Scott Bradley has tied the game. So that gets Mike Moore back in the running now. He's no longer on the hook for the loss. And Leeper is no longer there to get the win. Now he's got to deal with Ken Phelps. Gene Nelson to Ken Phelps. Runner at first, Scott Bradley not being held. That's a 1. Chance for a wild pitch. And Gene Nelson's wild pitch rating is an 11. So 1 to an 11, he uncorks the wild pitch. He does not. It's blocked by Steinbach, so he'll pitch to Phelps. 1-6 to Phelps, struck him out. And a big strikeout it is. That's 2 away. And it'll bring up Alvin Davis, another lefty. That's a 3-7 for Davis, and he's going to walk to extend the inning. Puts runners at first and second now. Clutch situation for the Hound Dog, Jim Presley. Righty on righty matchup. Nelson to Presley. 1-6 for Presley. Struck him out, and that's going to end the inning. That's the hat trick for Presley. He struck out 3 times. But the Mariners have tied the score. And we go to the bottom of the 8th. Tied at 2. That's going to be it for Gene Nelson. He's done. Jay Howell will be coming in going forward. So for Nelson, he's going to go 1 2/3 innings. Going to give up 1 hit and a run, which was earned. He walked 2 and struck out 2. He is the pitcher record along with Mike Moore. Mike Moore only gave up 1 single against this point of weakness, so they may keep him in there. And I believe they will. He's going to face the number 9 hitter, Alfredo Griffin. 1-4 to Griffin. That's a ballpark single check. And again, it's going to be a pop up to second. Would have been a liner to second, so it really doesn't matter. 1 away, and we flip to the top of the order for Polonia, who's 0 for 3 in his season debut. Good time for him to do something. 5-7, and he gets a single, so he does something. Polonia gets the single. Reed is ready to come in if needed. Wilkinson's also loosening in the bullpen, a lefty. So let's see what they want to do here. Moore is a -2 hold, though, so they like that factor. 4 through 6 to get the lead for Polonia. Cannot get the lead, so he's got to hold. So Tony Phillips is up. See what he can do against Mike Moore. 2-10, and that's a ground ball third base B. It's a fielder's choice. 5-4 as Presley throws to Reynolds for out number 2. 2 down, Phillips, the runner at first. Let's see if he can get a lead. 2 through 6 and 8 gets in the lead. 2 or 6 through 8 gets in the lead. 10 gets him picked off. That's a 6, so he does get the lead. He's a 15, -2 being held to 13, -2 there's 11. 1 to 11, he steals it. And he does. Stolen base for Phillips. So Phillips gets himself into scoring position. Turns this into a clutch situation for Carney Lansford. Phillips runs at a 15, so he will be held with 2 outs. He will be held. Moore now facing Lansford, or do they let Moore keep going is the question. You know what? They're going to make a call to the bullpen. Dick Williams has already motioned, and Mike Moore is going to be relieved. He will be coming out of the game, and southbound or eastbound and down, Jerry Reed will be coming in to pitch for Seattle. Jerry Reed. Reed's holds a +6, but that's not important right now. They're not worried about steals. They're worried about getting outs here in this clutch situation. So we go to the bullpen. The call is made to the bullpen. Jerry Reed is coming on. In the replay, Reed is 0-0 with 2 saves, but a 6.08 earned run average. 13 innings pitched, 12 hits, 4 walks, and 10 strikeouts. So Reed pitching to Lansford with Phillips at second and 2 outs. Tie game, bottom of the 8th, tied at 2. 6-6 for Reed, struck him out. So Jerry Reed comes in and gets it done. He's doing what they say can't be done, and he did it. Struck out Lansford to end the inning. We go to the 9th, and we are tied at 2. So coming to the game for the Oakland Athletics will be right-handed reliever Jay Howell. He and Eckersley kind of share the closing duties. Eckersley pitched last. Howell hasn't pitched in a couple of games, so he's rested. So we will bring Howell into the game. And then I'll get the completed numbers on Mike Moore. So let's get the numbers on Moore for the game. Nice outing for Mike Moore. He's going to go 7 2/3. Give up 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 was earned, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. So Jay Howell is on now. And for Howell, he's a 0. McGuire's a 0. Steinbach's a 0. So it's 0 for the hold factor. And Ray Quinones is the leadoff man for Seattle. I'm sorry, to be Kingery, not Quinones. My bad. Kingery, not Quinones. Where did Kingery go? How did I lose Kingery all of a sudden? I just had him a second ago. And now I can't, oh, there he is. He somehow got stuck in Oakland's pile. I don't know how he did that, but he did. So Kingery will lead things off here in the top of the ninth against Jay Howell. And on the replay, Howell is 1-0 with 5 saves, no runs allowed. 9 innings pitched, 4 hits, a walk, and 5 strikeouts, but he's given up nothing. He's 1-0 with 5 saves and an ERA of 0. So let's see what he can do here against Kingery. 2-9 to Kingery. That's trouble. 1-2 is a triple. 3-20 is a double. That is a leadoff double for Kingery. And that's a great start for the Mariners here in the top of the ninth. Kingery will not be held. Ray Quinones is the scheduled hitter, but they may be calling him back for a pinch hitter. They're looking at their bench. They have no lefties on the bench. Everyone is right-handed. But the question is, do they have a better right-handed hitter than Quinones? Quinones hit .276, so I don't think they have anybody better than that. They do have Ramos, but he might pinch hit for Reynolds. So we're going to let Quinones hit. He's a .276 hitter, so they're going to let him hit. He's only hitting a .143 in the replay, but average is going to, you figure, have to work out eventually. So Quinones is your batter against Howell. 2-11, and that's a hit by pitch. So Howell having his troubles. And 2 are on, nobody out for Harold Reynolds. Actually, they'll leave him in there to bunt because he's an excellent bunter with an A. So the corners have come in, and they are definitely expecting this bunt. So let's see where the bunt goes. So 5, so the bunt actually will go to the first baseman, McGuire. Now, as a B bunter with the corners in, he basically needs a 9 or less. He gets a 7, which should be just fine, and it is. So it's a sacrifice hit. It's going to go 3-4, and that will move both runners to second and third, respectively. And now the infield's got to come in for John Moses. The infield has to come in. There's no choice in the matter for Mr. Moses. Runners at second and third with 1 out for Jay Howell, who desperately needs a strikeout. Definitely needs a strikeout right about now. 5-9, and he doesn't get it. That's a double to center field. A 2-run double by John Moses. And that has put the Mariners in the lead 4-2 here in the top of the ninth. A 2-run double. And Jay Howell has allowed his first runs of the year. He'll stay in to face Bradley. They will not hold Moses at second. Howell to Bradley. 5-2 is a strikeout. He could have used that on the last at bat. Didn't get it. Gets it here. Strikeout for out number 2, and that brings up Scott Bradley in a clutch situation. And now Ed Nunez for the Mariners is loosening their bullpen, their closer. He would come in the bottom of the ninth to try to secure the deal. Howell to Scott Bradley. 3-10 for Scott Bradley. He's going to fly to right, and that's going to end the inning. But a big 2 runs on that double by John Moses has given the Mariners a 4-2 lead heading into the bottom of the ninth. And they will call on their closer, Edwin Nunez, to try to take care of things. Jay Howell on the hook for the loss if nothing changes. He goes 1 inning, gives up 2 hits and 2 runs. He doesn't walk anybody, but he does hit a batter, and he gets a strikeout. So Jay Howell could be taking the L. So Edward Nunez is coming on to pitch for Seattle. Ed Nunez. I think we'll move it over here since we're getting over in this area. Ed Nunez, come on. Jerry Reed actually can qualify for the win. He just got 1 batter out. He faced Lansford and struck him out. So he can qualify for the win, and Nunez can qualify for the save. Nunez is a -4 hold, with the +2 from Bradley makes him a -2. So much better than Reed with his +5. And so Reggie Jackson will lead it off here for the A's. How do I want to do that? I'll do it here and I'll pull him over if I need to. How about that? I'll just put him here and then pull him over a little bit closer if I need to show him. But let's bring Nunez into the game for Seattle to start the bottom of the 9th. As Seattle tries to get that victory and kind of close the gap on Oakland a little bit. Right now they're behind by 6 games. They can close it to 5 with a win here. They drop to 7 back if they lose. So you don't want to be going that far back. So Nunez is 0-0 with 3 saves. He's got an ERA of 0, just like Jay Howell had. 8 innings pitched, 2 hits, 4 walks, and 11 strikeouts. Very impressive numbers for Mr. Edwin Nunez. But Jay Howell had those same impressive numbers, and you saw what happened to him. So we'll see how this plays out. Bottom of the 9th, Reggie Jackson. Do you pinch hit for Reggie Jackson? That's the thing. Well, they only have 3 pinch hitters on the bench. They have Tettleton, Gallego, and Say. So there's not a whole lot there to come off the bench. And if you put Tettleton as a pinch hitter, you take away the catcher thing. Reggie's, you just can't pitch hit for Hot Dog Jackson. He wouldn't stand for it. So Hot Dog Jackson's going to swing away against Nunez. It's a 6-6 against the lefty. And look at that, a 1-4 triple. That's a 5. It'll be a base hit for Reggie Jackson. Now you might pinch run for Reggie, but you're not going to pinch hit for him. Reggie Jackson is aboard. He only runs at a 10. Gallego runs at a 13, so they're going to have Gallego pinch run for Reggie and take over as the DH. So Mike Let Go Gallego will pinch run here in the bottom of the 9th, as they need all the numbers they can get. He will not try to steal or anything like that, but he runs as a 13, which is 3 more than what Reggie had. And they will not hold Gallego on. So let's go to the computer and bring Gallego in as a pinch runner, as La Russa trying to cover all the bases, pardon the pun, with strategy. Nunez to Canseco. Now, Canseco's had an interesting game. He could walk off with 1 swing of the bat, though. 4-6, and he can also strike out, which is what he just did. So Nunez with the big K on Canseco. 1 away for Terry Steinbach, the catcher. He has had a rough go of it so far, but he's a .284 hitter, so we're not going to take him out. 1, so chance of a wild pitch for Nunez, which could be big. His wild pitch rating's an 8. 1-8, and Gallego will take second base. He does not. It's blocked by Mr. Bradley. So here's Steinbach. 2-2, and that's a foul out to Bradley, the catcher. One catcher fouling out to the other. And the A's down to their final out. And it's Mark McGwire. He can certainly win the game with the home run, or he could strike out. You never know, but definitely dangerous. Nunez, that's what he gets paid the big bucks for, is to get guys out like McGwire. 2-5, and he struck him out and did it. So Nunez finishes the deal, and the Mariners defeat the Oakland A's by the score of 4-2. And we'll get the totals. Nunez obviously gets the save. Let's go to the box score and get all the numbers we need. That is the 4th save for Nunez. Reed gets the win, and he improves to 1-0. That was his first decision. The loss is to Howell. He is 0-1. I'm sorry, he's 1-1. He also gets Nelson got a blown save at the same time. So Nunez with the victory. I'm sorry, the save. Reed with the victory. For Seattle, 4 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error. Oakland, 2 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. Mariners left on 8. Oakland left on 5. No home runs in the game. But Oakland drops to 13-4. Seattle improves to 8-9, so they're now 5 games back, and that loss will help the rest of the division try to catch up with the Oakland A's as well. So that's going to do it from here. Hopefully you enjoyed that somewhat truncated version where we didn't see the first inning on video, but we saw everything else. Innings 2 through 9. And we saw Seattle, most importantly, player of the game, John Moses, getting that 2-run double in the top of the 9th that did it off of Jay Howell, who had been untouchable prior to that. So he is the player of the game, John Moses. John Moses, your player of the game. John Moses on the season is a .246 hitter, 16 doubles in 390 at-bats, but you saw one of those doubles right there. So that's going to do it from here. Hope you enjoyed that presentation of Strat-O-Matic Super Advanced. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, how you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.